Assalamu alaikum students. I hope you all be healthy and fine at your homes and giving a lot of attention to your studies, especially chemistry, as chemistry is a very important subject. Okay, let's cut the formality short. Let's start the second topic of today. Okay, in the previous topic you have done why do atom reacts. Now we are going to start the second topic of chapter number 4, structure of molecules. The topic name is chemical bonds, given on page number 64. Now before starting this topic, be very clear of the previous topic as well, and we should start it with the checking of your previous knowledge. Okay, how would you define compounds? Okay, obviously most of you must have known the definition of compounds, but those who don't know the definition of compounds, please check it out from your book and write the definition of compounds on your notebooks which you are using as rough books, and at least read that out for 2 times. Okay, when you will read it down, the definition of compound, you will get to know that compounds are the pure substances in which the elements, one or more, two or more than two elements, they are held together in fixed ratio by natural forces. Okay, what do you think the statement held by natural forces mean? What are these natural forces which are holding atoms together, two or more than two atoms which are holding together in a substance? What are these forces? So today we are going to study actually those forces, and those forces are actually known as chemical bond. Okay, let's define chemical bond. The chemical bond is a force of attraction that holds the atoms together in any substance. Okay, those forces of attraction which hold the atoms together is known as chemical bonds. Okay, the chemical bonds, these force of attraction basically lead the atoms into some electronic structures. Some structures are there. Okay, now why they are called electronic structures, or why the structures are there? For example, I have told you this for many times, and we have discussed this for so many times. I think this thing should be on your fingertips when I'm talking like structures and properties, that atoms, whenever they rearrange in a different way, their properties and their structures are changed. Chalo, next one. For the first thing, when atoms arrange themselves in a new chemical reaction, a new structure is formed, and due to that new structure, a new property is formed. That's why I have given you the example of water in the previous chapter, previous topic, that H2O, two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atoms. Okay, the electrons in the hydrogen atom, the valence electron in the hydrogen atom, interact in a way with the valence electron of oxygen atom, that they produce H2O molecule, and they create a specific structure to this molecule. And due to this specific structure, the properties which I have discussed, only one or two property which we have discussed in the previous chapter, due to that previous topic, due to that structure, the what is that called, the properties are different. Okay, let's take an example. You have done this in the previous chapter, in chapter number 2, H2O, the comparison of H2O and D2O, comparison of water and heavy water. Have you seen that how the properties are different just because of the number of neutrons? Similarly, when electrons are interacting together in a different way, they're also creating the change in the structure as well as properties. So that's why the chemical bond and the types of chemical bond are important. Okay, different type of chemical bond would have different kind of properties as well. So for this we will look on what kind of chemical bonds are there, how many types of chemical bonds are there. Okay, we have done this in the previous topic, that atoms do react for getting the stability. Now they can get the stability in two ways. Rather they can lose or gain the electron. Okay, or rather they can share the electron with any other atom. Okay, based on these two criterias, any of these criterias can be used to make a bond. And based on these two criterias, there are two major types of bonds. Number one, ionic bond, and number two is covalent bond. Okay, ionic bonds are the bonds in which the electrons are being loosed or being gained. But the covalent bond, the electrons are basically, what are they? They are shared between atoms. Okay, the covalent bond we will do in the next session, inshallah, but today we are going to do the topic of ionic bond. Let's take a look on the definition of ionic bond, and I hope you will listen it very carefully and you will pay a lot of attention in these things, so that they should be on your fingertips soon. Okay, the forces of attraction. What is this? The forces of attraction that binds the oppositely charged ions. There are some forces of attraction. What that force of attraction would be called? Which is binding the oppositely charged ion. Now oppositely charged ion means one should be positive and the other charge ion would be negative. Now what is the force of attraction between a positive and negative charge? The electrostatic force of attraction. Okay, the force of attraction because of charges, that is called electrostatic force of attraction. We have done this in the chapter number 2 in Rutherford atomic models topic. You remember that? So in other words, we can say that when an atom loses an electron, you have done the definition of cation. When an electron loses an electron, it becomes a cation. So one of the atom would be a cation, and the other atom which gains the electron would be known as anion. So when an anion and cation interact together, they come in contact, they will attract each other because of their opposite charges, and that's how the ionic bond is being formed. Is it clear to you? Next, move to the next slide. Let's take an example of ionic bond. NaCl is the most common example of ionic bond. I think I have demonstrated this example for so many times on the board in the classes, that how sodium loses one of its electron and how chlorine gets it. Let's take a look on the electronic configuration of sodium. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. One electron is there in the valence shell, 3s1. What do you think? Which is more easy? Losing one electron or gaining 7 electrons? You better know the definitions of ionization energy and electron affinity to get this concept. Ionization energy, getting 7 electrons or losing 1 electron. Obviously, it is easy to lose 1 electron, so that the previous shell 2s2 2p6 will be the valence shell, and it will have the stability of the according to the octet rule, because it has 8 electrons now. Is it clear? Similarly, sodium, it will become the sodium positive ion, which is the cation. Okay, after losing this 1 electron. Okay, next, chlorine. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Wow, what is there missing? Only 1 electron is missing. It is easy for chlorine to get that 1 electron from sodium rather than losing these 7 electrons from the valence shell. After getting only 1 electron from sodium, it will become 3s2, 3p8, and 3p6, sorry, and the octet rule be confirmed. So chlorine gains 1 electron from sodium to attain the stability, and hence after gaining 1 negative charge of electron, it will become chlorine negative, and anion would be formed. So this anion and sodium positive ion will attract each other according to electrostatic forces, and what will happen? An ionic bond would be formed between sodium and chlorine. Wow, point to be pondered. Yes, point to be pondered. You should think very carefully. That's why I'm always telling you, beta, the previous concepts are very important to get the new concept. You should have your previous concepts on your fingertips, so that the new concepts would be easy to understand. Go to page number 44. Pause the video while you are doing it until you open the page number 44, the periodic table on page number 44, and take a look on where sodium and chlorine are situated in the periodic table. Okay, pause the video and go there. Okay, now when you are there, you will see sodium is present in 1A group, alkali metals, the leftmost corner of the periodic table. If you see the trend in ionization energy increases left to right. It means the leftmost corner, the alkali metals and the alkaline earth metals have the lowest ionization energies. So ionization energy is, what is ionization energy? Ionization energy is the energy required to lose one electron. So it means the lowest energy is required between these two groups, 1A and 2A. When it will be at lowest ionization energy, obviously these atoms will lose their electron very easily. Similarly, if you see the chlorine, halogens, 7A group. In 7A group, as you have moved from left to right, it is almost the rightmost region of the periodic table. It means the electron affinity is at highest at that point. Electron affinity, you are better know what is electron affinity. The electron affinity is an ability, or you can say it is the energy which is required for an electron to get the to get an electron. Okay, energy which is lost, which they gave out. So chlorine, being at the rightmost region of the periodic table, would have the highest electron affinity. It means it has the highest affection for that electron which sodium have lost. So it will gain that electron from sodium and obviously form a negative charge. This is how electron affinities and ionic and the what is that called, the ionization energy affect the nature of bond. They decide the electron affinities and the ionization energy. And one more thing we have studied in the previous chapter, that is electron negativity. What electron negativity do on the chemical properties of an element, we will discuss it in the next session. So I have told you in the previous chapter that these properties, these physical properties have a very great impact on the chemical properties of an atom as well. So this is how the electron affinity and ionization energy affect the nature of bond, that what bond should be there. This is understandable? If it is not, you are most welcome to please ask the question. I would love that this concept would be very clear in your mind. Okay, make this concept that because of the lowest ionization energy, sodium was able to lose its electron more easily, and because of the highest electron affinity, chlorine was able to get that electron. Okay, next topic. So we have done this. Now, sodium have a low ionization energy which leads it to lose its electron easily. Similarly, chlorine have a high electron affinity, leading it to gain the electron from sodium easily. Next, must remember, these are some points you must remember about the ionic bond. Number 1, ionic bond have electrostatic forces of attraction. As the oppositely charged, I think this is now clear to you, as oppositely charged ions are involved. I have told you this earlier. The second thing is the compounds as a result of ionic bond are called the ionic compounds, and they are electrically neutral. Why they are electrically neutral? It is because the two oppositely charged particles, they cancel the effect of each other. Okay, it is clear. Now one more thing you should remember, which I haven't included it in the written form, but you should remember this, that ionic bonds, because they are electrostatically attracted towards each other, the positive and negative attraction is so strong, and this is why the ionic compounds have high melting and high boiling points, because you have to give a lot of energy or lot of heat energy to lower that bondage between them, to lower that force of attraction between them. And one more thing, very much, in chapter number 1 we have discussed why ionic compounds are termed as formula unit. We have done this question for so many times, and we have discussed that ionic compounds basically forms arrays. They are in arrangement, and they form that arrangement, and in that arrangement they actually attract the positive and negative charges of another molecule as well. We have just, if you don't remember it, please go back to chapter number 1 and read out that answer of that question, why ionic compound are represented as formula unit. Okay, and you will see that in that we have discussed they have the arrangement and they form a huge molecule, a huge what is that called, the cubic form or some kind of shape in which they are very much attracted towards each other. The negative charges attract, and the opposite charges basically attract each other, and that is why they have a very strong forces of attraction, and that is why they have the very high melting and boiling point. This should be very clear in your mind. One more thing I want to tell you, remember this, ionic bonds are mostly, please write these 2 points on your book notebooks as well. I want to see that. Write these points on your notebooks, must remember points. The properties of ionic compounds: number 1, they have high melting and boiling point. I have gave you the reason for that. Number 2 thing is that most of the time the ionic bonds are made between a metal and a non-metal. As you can see with our example, NaCl, sodium is a metal. Okay, sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. And what is happening there? The exchange, the complete exchange of electron. Similarly, there is one more example, magnesium chloride. Magnesium is metal and chlorine is non-metal again. So most of the ionic bonds are made between metals and non-metals. Number 2 thing is that. Now, we shouldn't leave you without the task. If you have watched the video very carefully and if you have listened the video very carefully, you would get the answer of the question number 1. Why do it is more likely for alkali or alkaline earth metals to form ionic bonds? You have to write this on your notebooks as well, the rough books obviously, and I will check it during the session. And please do it very carefully. If you don't understand the question or term or what I'm asking from you, please you are most welcome to ask. And obviously you have to learn the topic of ionic bond by heart as well, inshallah ta'ala. If you will get the concept very clearly, it will be very easy to learn it by heart as well. Okay ji, thank you so much. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.